All right. Happy, what day is today? Thursday, everyone. Man, this week is flying by. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are doing our third interview for the virtual career fair, and I'm excited because today we have the number one golf brand in the world, Acushnet Company. And I know if I say Acushnet Company, some people probably are like, who? They own many companies, but their most known is Titleist and FootJoy, which I'm pretty sure if you're a golfer, you own one of these products. They have many other companies. I'm going to have our guests today go over that with you. But I do just want you to know that this is a brand that has so many different products that what they offer as far as employment opportunities is very unique in the golf space because it's not all focused on golf in the traditional sense. So I'm excited for you to learn more about that. And I just want to be clear that throughout this interview, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. I do try to get to them as quickly as we can. And also, this is recorded. So if you do not, if you're not able to watch the whole thing, or if you come in a little late, hopefully you'll catch this on the recording later. You just have to be registered for free through the blackgolfdirectory.com website. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in our guest today from the Acushnet Company and let her introduce herself.
Hey, Jamie. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing?
Yeah, welcome, Carissa.
Thank you for having me. For all of you out there, my name is Carissa Swagart. I'm the Director of Diversity, Inclusion, Belonging, and Culture here at Acushnet Company. And as Jamie said, Titleist, FootJoy, Pinnacle, Vokey Wedges, Scotty Cameron Putters, you name it, that is under our amazing umbrella here at Acushnet Company.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm so glad you were able to list them all because I, I didn't want to mess that one up. We're so happy to have you here. And I'm just excited for people to learn more about the different opportunities that you all offer and really talking about the non-traditional things. I mean, there's obviously the selling of your products, but there's so many other things that you all do at your company and also what you do. So if you could start with what you do and kind of how you came about working for Acushnet.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm still fairly new to the organization. I've been here for about 4 months and a cup of coffee, as I like to tell people. But as the director of diversity, inclusion, belonging, and culture, I'm really responsible for developing, socializing, and implementing our DIB strategy and really working closely with all of our business units in regions on a global level. The role really just allows me to work with stakeholders across all of our different brands and our businesses, and really just ensure that all of our associates are engaged, connected, and valued. Typical day, because a lot of people always ask, what's a typical day like for you? It could be partnering, with our talent acquisition team on doing something great like this, a virtual career fair to learn more about who we are and our people, to working with our brand teams on ways to support our golfers, and then working on the tour with our tour teams, our player development teams. So it's a really great role. It's a role that allows me to see a lot of different aspects of the business. It changes every hour and every day. And then, really what brought me here is I don't have a background in golf. I didn't play golf at, the amateur level or professional level. I'm just someone that is passionate about sports. My background was in sports management. I was a college athlete in soccer and basketball. And for me, it was an opportunity, a couple of months ago to really get back into the industry. I wanted to get back in sports. And then just seeing the rise right now and the buzz around golf, about making golf more inclusive. And then obviously thinking, if I'm going to go into the industry, you want to go in with the number one company to do it. And I was just fortunate enough, obviously, to land here at Acushnet Company.
Thank you for the backstory. You touched on some things that I'm hoping my audience caught, which is, you're not a golfer in the traditional sense, although you've dabbled in it. You came in at a director level, which is something that I think people don't always think we have the ability or opportunities in golf to do. And this was your way of getting back into sports, even though it's not the sport you played. it's the sports industry nonetheless, and the opportunity happened to be at one of the biggest companies in the golf industry, which is also something that I can tell you as someone who grew up in golf my whole life, never crossed my mind. Played Titleist golf balls all through, junior golf through college. And it never crossed my mind to work at Titleist or at Acushnet. So I think that's something that I really want the people to take away from this conversation today is that this is part of the golf industry, that working at a golf course and playing golf are not the only opportunities in the golf space. So if you could share with us just a general overview of some of the departments and roles that people would consider, and not to get too detailed because there's so many of them, but just what are those departments that exist within Acushnet that people could consider working there for?
Therefore. Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly to go back on, what you said, I mean, I think what's interesting now and what we see with more connection through social media and then just more companies paying attention to early talent and putting themselves out there, it is such a unique opportunity right now, more than what I had when I was in college or even high school, to be engaged with brands. When you think about internships and co-ops, um, every company, it's such a big need, and companies are pushing that because obviously it's a great way to get early talent engaged. And like most organizations, we want to keep our associates, right? We want to train them, develop them, and then make sure they succeed in the organization. So this is just a great time, not only I think for the industry, but for any college or graduate or even high school individual that's looking to do something that could be in sports or not, but there's still an opportunity. So in regards to first, if it's okay, who we are as a company. As Jamie, you mentioned at the start, when you say a Acushnet company, people are like, who are we, right? So what I can tell you is that we're a company that has been woven into golf since golf started. Our associates are people, we're a dedicated group of individuals. We have a passion for the game. Even if we didn't play the game, we didn't come from the game, we all have that passion, right? We take pride in being unrivaled leaders in every category we compete in. So when you think about a Acushnet company, yes, we have the number one golf brand in Titleist, and yes, we have the number one shoe and glove with FootJoy, but we're more than that, right? We have hats, we have gloves, we have shoes, we got umbrellas when we think about gear, we have the balls, we have the clubs. And so there is such an array of opportunities for anyone not only looking to get in the industry, but to do something unique, whether that is, working with our ball fitting team, to working with our club team, to working with our play development team. We're actually touring the country looking for the next generation of talent on the amateur level, on the professional level, engineering backgrounds, marketing and sales backgrounds. I myself, my background is in sales and marketing. So, even for me to come in here on a lens of diversity, inclusion, and belonging, but my background is marketing and sales. And so it is one where if you come in hungry, you come in with a willingness to learn, but also willingness to share your thoughts and perspectives. There's really a ton of opportunity. And then I left out on a global level, right? We are a global organization. We have, regions all over the United States, but also globally, from Southeast Asia to Europe to the United Kingdom, Finland, Australia, New Zealand, and then here in the US and in Canada. So there is a breadth and depth of opportunity. Again, whether it's marketing, sales, with our brand teams, out there with the golfers, there is something for everyone.
Yeah, you covered a lot, and that's something that I hopefully, if my audience is just hopping in, if you have any questions, please feel free to put the questions in the chat because there's a lot to cover today in a very short amount of time. But I wanted to make sure everybody understood that um, like she mentioned, engineering. That's something that people never think of in golf, even though, again, we use the equipment, we get lessons, we use technology, especially now more than ever, the golf balls, right, that are designed and the technology that goes into that. I know as an LPGA professional, one of the things that is a perk of being a golf professional is your company provides us, I want to say like 8 dozen golf balls every year. But the process of getting those is we have to do your online ball test, which basically introduces your product lines so that we understand as golf professionals what the products what audience is best for each product, right? And so just learning, going through that process and seeing all the products that you have available and the balls specifically and what they're supposed to do and how they're made is always fascinating for me, because I just, again, never thought about it. Played golf for 30 plus years. Never thought about these things. Even just the video that's created, I was like, wow, somebody had to create this video, right? And it's a pretty cool interactive video. It's not your run of the mill, boring want video. So I just think about all of these aspects of golf now that, again, people need to learn about, which is why we're doing this, having this conversation today. So if you could, and I also want to address the fact that you mentioned, the entry level piece, but again, for those who just joined the call, Carissa is a director. So just know that there's opportunity at all levels. Obviously, if you know some young people or if you are a young person looking to get into this sport, just know that, starting in a company at the lower level and learning the whole business obviously makes it easier to climb the ladder, but it's not necessarily required, right? If you have a skill set to bring to the table, you can apply for any opportunities there. So with that said, can you talk about some of the entry level roles, as far as what may be available now and what people could do to maybe make an entrance into the company?
Absolutely. So, right now we have two great opportunities. We are, currently hiring for our winter 2024 golf ball fitter interns, which would go from January through April of 2024, and then our summer 2024 golf ball fitter interns, which would go through May through August of 2024. Anyone can apply. So any major, including grad students. We will drop a link in the chat as well to learn some more and obviously to get your applications in. We're currently accepting applications right now, and we're going to be hopefully conducting interviews in waves in the next couple of months. But just a little bit of what those jobs entail and some of the cities across the United States that we're looking at. So in that role, you'd be responsible for helping to connect with golfers, obviously helping to support our Titleist golf ball specialist with a number of golf ball events. The general work schedule would be, events through Wednesday through Sunday. And again, just helping to educate and fit golfers on our, Titleist golf balls, our Titleist product line, and then really helping to support the golf ball shop staff on merchandising correctly our golf balls and our inventory. So it's a great, entry level way to get into the organization. For the winter cycle, we are looking across the country from Palm Springs to Phoenix, Houston, Orlando, Tampa, I believe Miami, San Diego, and Los Angeles as well. And then for the summer, it's pretty robust from the East Coast, from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and the Boston area, all the way to DC, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Columbus, Buffalo, Atlanta, Austin, Pittsburgh, Reno, out to the Midwest, to Seattle, St. Louis, and Memphis, Milwaukee, and plenty other places. So again, there is a lot of opportunity in regards to locations. When we think about requirements, again, just being a current college student, all majors or recent graduates, you do need a personal vehicle to be able to travel from the events and obviously to be able to have the supplies to conduct the events. And then as far as the application process, it's a 4-step process for us here at Acushnet. That initial online application where, you're going to submit your resume. And then we'll do some initial screening calls followed by some video interviews and then a manager interview before decisions are being made. So again, two amazing opportunities in regards to cycles. The pay is about $20 an hour plus mileage reimbursement, which is a great kudo. And then for us as an organization, if you can't tell by me, but if you meet anyone from Acushnet, we are definitely energy. We're positive people. We are individuals who support one each other. We live our values. So we want to have someone that can come in, with that same kind of energy and creativity. Someone that is desiring to work in this industry for a long time, and then just eager to work with people and eager to learn. That is what is appealing to us here. You don't have to have a large background, like Jamie said, in golf. You don't have to have played golf, but you want to come in and just learn, which is a big thing for us at this organization. And then I would just say, as a way to support everybody out there, just some turnoffs for us is obviously, we want to make sure that people that apply, again, come in with a perspective where they want to learn in that eagerness. So, we want someone that has high energy versus low energy. And then just being willing to work. That is important for us too, because, hopefully as you're all getting a sense of, we're a company where we support each other, and there's a lot of great different opportunities, and your day is going to change based on the event that you're working and who you're working with. So we're excited to see, a lot of people apply for this. And like I said, at the end of this, we'll drop a link into our employment site.
You are very thorough, Carissa. You covered a lot of information and questions that were being asked in the chat. So thank you for that. Hopefully you all caught that. Again, if you didn't catch all of it, it'll be in the recording of this video that'll be sent out in an email early tomorrow. So please be registered to receive that information. So you touched on obviously the process. Now you did say college and recent graduates, but I'm assuming anyone who's really interested and may not have a lot of experience could apply for these opportunities. $20 an hour sounds pretty fair, pretty legit. And you mentioned Cleveland, which is my hometown, so I'm excited that if you're from the Ohio area, definitely consider some opportunities there. The other thing I would ask you in regards to the application process, you mentioned the high energy versus low energy. I know you haven't been with the company long, but just from your life experience, could you give some specifics of things you may have seen either on a resume or in the interview process that you could say was something that you knew did not work for a candidate, especially maybe someone who was a strong candidate not coming in, something to be aware of when they're sending in the application and or interviewing?
Yeah, great question. And I'll put on my talent acquisition hat, right? I'm going to fill in for that amazing team we have. I mean, I think, listen, because I am someone that recently obviously went through the process, right? So 4 months ago, I went through the process that some of you are going to go through. For me, I think, one thing is making sure on your resumes you do due diligence to really put who you are. It's not just only the experience, right? And I've seen resumes where it's like you list the experience, but it is the soft skills. So, finding a way, whether it's that intro paragraph, to really just kind of highlight your skills, your people connection skills, right? The ability to get along well with others, curiosity, empathy, understanding. How can you display that either in words or through the work that you're doing based on your experience on your resume? But trying to find a way to personalize it. I would say stay away from like the common words. I mean, we see this a lot too. It's like innovative leader or, thought starter. Okay, that is great, but what does that actually mean? Do you actually showcase that in the work that you do, right? So when you're thinking about those buzzwords, make sure they're authentic to you and your skill set. I always ask people, what are the 3 strengths of who you are and what are your 3 opportunities? And don't be afraid to showcase that on a resume, right? Because I think that's important not only in a resume, but when you go through the interview process, share who you are, right? We don't want people that are going to come in and be like, I know it all. We want people who are going to say, you know what, my strengths are here, but I have opportunities here, and I'm hoping that working with you in this organization, the team that I'm hopefully going to work with, I will grow and develop those skills. So I would just recommend, don't do a generic resume, do a resume that fits you. If you can tailor it a little bit to golf in regards to working for Acushnet, again, try to put something in there. It doesn't mean that you have to have been a professional or played in high school or work, at a club. It could just be volunteerism. It could be, you're an athlete. We love athletes. I'm a former athlete. I'm biased a little bit to athletes because, again, to me, it's like that energy, that passion, that teamwork attitude. But anything you can do to showcase, again, who you are on the resume. And then the interview process, same thing. I mean, bring that energy. We obviously know it's challenging these days, especially doing things virtually, but bring that energy virtually. And whatever that might look like for you, right? So make sure you come with questions. You don't want to ever go through an interview process where it's like, if I'm interviewing you, I'm asking you all the questions and it's a simple yes or no answer. We want to get to know who you are, understand who you are. So make sure you also come and ask questions as well, because I think that's important. I always tell, early talent, make sure you ask about things like the benefits, right? Make sure you ask about the pay. Make sure you ask about what the day-to-day is, because I think that's important. I think sometimes when we are young and hungry, we just want to apply for a job, but make sure you're asking those questions so you know what you're going to be getting into, you know what your day is going to look like, and I think your manager who's interviewing you will appreciate that as well.
Now, those are great tips and information. One thing that you said I want to reiterate is in regards to uh, listing on your resume, three, you said talents and three opportunities. That's something I haven't heard. And also, I think that's something really strong to consider. We're in the days of chat GPT. Everybody wants to use, AI to help them with everything. And that's a great way to get through stuff faster. But in this regards, having that authenticity and not having like you said, the key words, the special words that people think will make them sound intelligent or sound like they're innovative. It becomes almost redundant for you all on the other side of it things because you're like, how many times have I seen this? And of course, if everybody's using chat GPT, then everybody's sending in the same almost verbiage. So just put that out there for those people who may be younger and think that that's the way to go. Probably not when it comes to the resumes. I'm old enough that chat GPT wasn't part of my life, so I haven't really gotten there, but I just know it's very common nowadays. So you spoke about benefits and asking about benefits. Could you share with us, just from your perspective, obviously the pay varies depending on the role, but outside of the typical pay, health benefits, what benefits have you seen that you think are really cool working at Acushnet?
Yeah, great question. So first, I think one of the benefits and perks is just our company and the culture, right? I mean, you are working with just passionate people from all different walks of life. I mean, we have associates who've been here like 50 years to those like myself who've only been here for 4 months. So it's definitely the people, which I think is a benefit and a perk. I think, the opportunity as well to work in an environment where you're able to have a balance of work life, right? And I think this has become more important since COVID, and COVID is still out there. So I don't want to say since because we are struggling with COVID, but I think as a company, we really value and support mental and physical and emotional health for our associates. So, you're going to be working for a company where, golf is not only a great spot to do that, but, we want to ensure that our associates have time to be with their family, have time to be with their friends, have time to just, be with yourself. And because it can be challenging, right? I mean, again, it's a high paced, fast environment here at Acushnet. But that's definitely a perk, and I felt it being a mother of two children right now, two under 10, that I don't feel at all where if my child is sick that I can't go and take a half a day, or if I need some time to mentally take a break, I'm gonna go do 9 and play golf and make my golf game better, right? So I think that's a perk as well, and like I said, I mean, just learning. There is such tradition here at Acushnet between the associates and their tenure here. So, especially being young and coming in the industry, to me, it's like I almost equate it to, working with Michael Jordan, right? Like some of the greatest athletes, or Tom Brady. It's like, can you imagine being the backup to Tom Brady? And it's less about playing, it's more about understanding how Tom Brady would look at the game and learning that playbook. So I think that's a similar perk and benefit that maybe we don't think about of, wow, I'm working with, or, reporting right now to someone that's been in this industry for 25 years, who played at the collegiate level, who played at the amateur level, and who really like I can learn a lot to, or a lot from, right? So I think that's another perk or benefit where you have the opportunity, regardless of your level, to engage with associates across your organization. Another great perk is, we are a global company. I think we speak over 16 languages globally. I think that's how many languages we have. So it's really cool to be on calls and interact with associates from other cultures and countries, learn other languages. And I think that's a perk that is, it's really not highlighted, especially at a global economy that we are right now, and the ability to have another skill of learning other languages. So that is another, I think, great perk, is just getting to meet other associates globally, understanding different cultures, and then, spending some time to learn languages and phrases that you probably didn't think you were going to learn, right? So in the benefits, I mean, obviously, depending on the level of the organization that you're at, We have a great health package with, medical benefits. We have a great wellness package. We use Noom and Wellbeats. Um, Virgin Pulse is another great one that we do. We celebrate cultural milestones here. We're actually getting ready to celebrate World Mental Health Month on October 10th. So that is just another way for us globally to pause for a moment and recognize and reflect on the importance of mental health and the connection to golf. For many, golf is a way to go and get out and disconnect from the day-to-day, challenges or maybe even reality that they're facing. So there's a lot of great perks. The discounts on the golf gear, that's definitely a great one as well. I mean, Jamie, you're getting those balls, right? You know what it's like. So, that's another great perk. Even if you're not a golfer, it's just awesome to be able to say, you know what, let me just go out and try it. Representing us with our gear and our swag, as I like to call it. But yeah, just a lot of great perks. Like clearly all can see I'm passionate about this company, and I could go on and on.
No, you definitely covered some great perks, and that was brought up actually earlier in a question about the mentorship and leadership opportunity. And so I hope everyone heard about the idea that you're going to be working with people, obviously, who have way more experience, and if you're coming in as entry level, and being able to engage with those people and learn from them, and really learn how they navigated this business. And hopefully that will be another one of your takeaways. I also like the language thing, the global. I'm a world traveler. I can officially give myself that title. I'm on country 28, so I got 2 more to go to get to 30 this year. And so the idea of being able to talk to people, like you said, from other cultures, potentially, I don't know, being able to maybe transfer to work at a office in a different country, I'm sure maybe an opportunity as well. So just something that I think is very unique in the golf space, because you do have a lot of golf companies that don't have that. They're global, but they're not global in the sense that they have a lot of offices in various locations. So that's very unique, I think, for Acushnet. Um, can you talk briefly about, we have some people on the call that are not necessarily entry level golfers, but they may either want to consider, like in your case, a change of pathway as far as if they want to get back into sports, or they just, maybe golf interests them and they don't know how to navigate in getting into the golf space. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what kind of tips you could give those people?
Yeah, another great question. I mean, I think, listen, first, the willingness to just go out and engage, right? I mean, I think one of the greatest ways to get involved is go to your local municipal court, right? And courts, sorry, course. I had basketball in my mind, but go to your local municipal course and play around. And I think here's the beauty of golf. You don't have to be, like the greatest at the game. I mean, to be honest, it's a small population that are great at golf. I mean, golf is just it's mental. It's Jamie, it's challenging, right? And so the ability to get out, and I think it's the greatest people connector sport out there. And this is someone who soccer and basketball has been my life as an athlete in both those sports. But there's nothing like golf in regards to connecting the world, connecting people of differences. So going out to a municipal course, you may play maybe 9 holes because you don't maybe have 4 hours. You maybe only have 2. And getting out there. And if you're one person, go out there and they're going to put you with 3 other people or 2 other people. And then you engage in conversation, right? And again, it's not about you competing against them. It's just you starting to enjoy the game. We talk about driving ranges. When I got into golf 18 years ago, as part of my role 18 years ago in sales, it was like, okay, you either go to a country club, a municipal course, or a driving range. And the driving ranges back then were like, these old school, you're hitting really bad balls into the woods, and there's not a lot of, technology behind it or anything cool. To now we're talking, about the putt shacks of the world, and AI in regards to virtually being able to play, right? And then understanding your swing, and the velocity that you hit the ball and the distance that you hit your ball. So there's a lot of great opportunities if you're like, I don't want to go to a golf course. It is, go to a driving range. Just type up a local driving range and get in there and just hit some balls. And I promise you're going to be like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then it's such a great community where while you're doing it, the person next to you are like, hey, like, can you help me? You got a tidbit here for me, or can you give me some advice? And then again, that opens up another door. So there's a lot of different opportunities to play. Another big thing is volunteerism. There are so many golf tournaments going on across the United States at any given time, whether that is collegiate level, the junior level, the professional level. Going and volunteering. It's simple to do. You go on the LPGA or the PGA, Corn Ferry, the USGA, and you can go on and volunteer for some of those events. And that's another great way. So if you're like, yeah, I don't want to play golf, but I love volunteerism. I love community engagement involvement. And let me go in and actually volunteer and see. There's also organizations that are focused on underrepresented talent in this industry. So like the First Tees of the world, the City Swings, like going and working with those organizations and volunteering to really just see the power and impact of golf, especially in underprivileged communities right now where they didn't grow up with that opportunity and access. And these organizations are giving them that. So another great way just to experience the power of golf is by working with those organizations. Retail. My background too was in retail. I mean, I worked at, the Dick's Sporting Goods, the Olympia Sporting Goods, which was a local regional chain here in Massachusetts. And I worked in that early on in college because again, my major was sports management. So I either thought I wanted to be, a Division I soccer or basketball coach. I thought, hey, I wanted to be a sports agent. And this was, I graduated in 2002, not to age myself. But in 2002, there weren't a lot of diverse female sports agents. So I just said, hey, I want to be a female sports agent. And then my professor said to me, what about retail? Like, it's a great way to get into sports in a non-traditional way. And so I actually went and applied to my local sports store, got a job, sneaker department, and I was doing sneakers. And then 6 months later, I was the manager in college of an Olympia Sports. And that allowed access and opportunity on things because that connection with all the different brands, right? So that led to me testing shoes with New Balance. I got to test in Puma. I got to test some of their new shoes. So there's indirect ways to get involved. And so, that's another way of maybe going and working in retail at a Dick's Sporting Goods store, or another local or regional one, and just getting engaged with the golf department. And you're going to be working with our Titleist clubs because they have them at Dick's Sporting Goods. And then you're going to meet our rep and then have a conversation with our rep. So there's tons of ways, whether it's directly working with the clubs and the courses, to, indirectly working in the retail environment, to volunteerism and community outreach. But there's a ton of ways to build a resume, as I was talking about earlier. Hone in on, what are those soft skills that you have that you can showcase on your resume, and then share that when you're going through the interview process. Also.
Those are really great tips. And you actually went in a whole nother direction, which in a good way that I expected, because I think everyone thinks, okay, I just got to get to the top. Titleist being, Acushnet being one of the biggest companies in the world, everybody wants to immediately go straight there. And it's okay if you're maybe wanting to be an accountant, or if you're in HR, maybe legal, or IT, those roles, probably you would go there and it'd be traditional. But if you want to work on the golf side of things, it is helpful to kind of dip your toe first into the industry on a more grassroots level, where you understand the business, and then it makes you a more viable candidate when you apply for these type of roles. So I think that's a great point. I have one last question, and actually just want to remind the audience, we have some great comments in the chat. They're loving the conversation, enjoying all of your information. If you have any other questions before we wrap up shortly, please type in the chat. Can you tell us, and I know, again, I want to reiterate, you've been there about 4 months now with Acushnet. Can you tell us how you feel the culture is there, as far as, especially being a Black female? What do you feel about the culture there?
Yeah, and I can tell you, I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but it's such a very open and supportive culture, right? And I've sensed it in such a short time, with 4 months, where I never felt through the process of the interview, whether that be virtual or in person, that, I was looked at any different because I didn't come from the industry. I didn't play the game of golf. I wasn't a white male per se, right? Like, I never felt any of that. For me as a multiracial, openly gay woman, I felt like I could be 100% myself. And in that interview process, everyone I talked to saw me for me. and everything, every intersectionality of who Carissa is, right? So that's what's special about this culture. And a lot of companies say that, right? And I've been fortunate where I have worked for a lot of companies where it is the culture. I mean, it's a culture while companies are successful, right? And we know this. So to me, it's so unique here in the fact that our people see each other. They see the differences, and I don't want to sound cliche, but they do, and they respect and embrace those differences. And my experience so far has really helped me vindicate why I wanted to get back into the sports space and why I chose golf and why I was fortunate enough to stumble across and be a part of a Acushnet company. There's just nothing like that feeling, And I think another big thing too is you come in and you're like, you know what, to sit in with our Titleist clubs team or our Titleist gear team and listen to them talk about, what they're innovating and, how they're going to sell and connect the dedicated golfer and be able to raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question, or help me understand, and to have that team listen to you. Again, as someone who doesn't have the experience in the industry or at Acushnet, that speaks volumes. And that's a company that you want to work for. And I think the greatest thing is that's a company that you want to stay at for a long time, right? And I mentioned, like, we want people that don't just want to come here and check off the box. We want people that want to stay at Acushnet, and stay in this industry and help continue to evolve this industry. So to me, it's our people, it's how we interact with each other, it's our vision and our values. Our values are so actionable. I mean, there are a lot of values with a lot of companies where it's just like they're writing on the wall or it's a poster in the HR department and that's it. We talk about our values all the time. You see them on our social channels. You see them through our brands and what our brands are doing. You hear them when you talk to our associates. And so I think that is such another unique thing that our leadership team has done an amazing job and our associates have done an amazing job of really bringing those values to life.
All right, so that's really good to know, and I can vouch for that. I haven't worked for Acushnet, but I do have friends who work in the company recently, and they've shared similar sentiments in regards to feeling very supported, feeling like there are systems in place so they don't have to like figure all the things out. There's always someone there to kind of help them along the way, and they can easily get into their roles without much struggle. So I do think that just from my understanding that what you're saying is true, and something that people should know. It wouldn't be the number one leading brand if it wasn't set up that way. So I think that's something to know. So we're going to wrap up soon. So again, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. But I'm going to wrap up with just having you, Carissa, explain what upcoming opportunities there are, how people can learn about any of your employment opportunities going forward, and then also for those that just joined, we are collecting resumes, meaning blackoffdirectory.com. We're collecting resumes if you're registered for these events for free to send directly to all of our interviewees so that they can hopefully put you at the top of the list. So please be registered. The information is in the chat. And also, you'll check an email after each interview with the recording and how you can apply for these roles. So again, go back to you, Carissa, if you could share more about what you have coming up.
Yeah, first, Jamie, thank you. It's awesome. I'm proud to be a part of this and for Acushnet to be a part of your organization. And, everyone out there listening, exactly what Jamie said. I mean, if you were interested, please make sure that you get your resumes. We're going to be working obviously very closely with Jamie to get those resumes. Another way is go on our Acushnet or our brand sites. It's another great way. You just under employment, you can plug in there. HTTPS employment.acushnetgolf.com is another way. Our LinkedIn sites as well. Personally, I'm on LinkedIn too, Carissa Swaggart. So hit me up on LinkedIn if you have any questions after this. I will be more than happy to spend some time, share my experience and journey so far, and help answer any questions, because to me, it's extremely important that we get more people that look like us. All of us, I can't see you all, but what represents this world and represents the United States and globally, that we continue to get that funnel into a Acushnet company and on a greater scale into the golf industry itself. So please reach out to me, and I'd be happy just to answer any additional questions, obviously, and just have a chat with you all.
Okay, well, thank you so much again, Carissa. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us for our third interview as part of the Black Golf Directory Virtual Career Fair series. We will continue the rest of our interviews starting next week on Monday. We actually have a double feature on Monday. So look out for that announcement, as well as we'll be pretty much doing them every single day next week, Monday through Friday. So tomorrow we're off. This weekend we're off, and then we'll be back on to finish up the career fair. But I want to thank you for being a part of this, leaving comments. Oh, someone asked a question about golf networking, social events, or outings that Acushnet is hosting, or I guess is a part of. They were specifically talking about the Michigan area. I know that's very specific, but do you all do any specific minority networking events or any special outings that they can tune into?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would have to get back to the team. I know we have a lot of different organizations we work with for outings in different communities. What I would say is either send me over an email or connect with Jamie, and then I will follow up and make sure we get that insight specific to that community.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely you can send me additional questions if you have any afterwards through blackgolfdirectory.com, or my email is info@blackgolfdirectory.com. Like I said, if you're registered, you'll get an email from me that you can reply to as well. But yeah, any questions you have, that's great. And actually, that's a great idea, a minority networking event. I can say for sure how I learned about the Acushnet in my later years is by going to some of the um, for example, the African American Golf Expo. They were attending there. They've attended Women in Golf Foundation, a national championship. They've attended the PGA Works Fellowship. They do a lot of HBCU career fairs, and I'm sure they do other big trade shows. Obviously, the PGA trade show, which is the biggest one in the industry in Orlando. So I don't know if you attended any of these, but that's definitely a place to connect. And within some of those events, they have some of those networking opportunities. But obviously, LinkedIn, if you're looking for something more direct and quick and to the point until then, is a great way to connect with a Acushnet team. I can tell you for sure, Carissa and some of the other team members that I interact with, they are very diligent about looking for people for various roles within the company. And it's just a matter of you being present and then finding you. So you have to reach out to them, like she said, on LinkedIn or via email, because otherwise they won't know you exist. So just be bold. Obviously, have a resume that's put together. She gave some great tips about what to put on said resume. So if you didn't hear that part of the interview, please get the recording or watch this on our YouTube channel, because I think that's going to really help you get a leg up. But thanks again for joining us, everyone. And I will see you on Monday at noon right here on our channel to do our next big interview. Have a great day.